Hello everybody and welcome back to the Ultimate Fashion History with me, Amanda Halley, and this month's episode of What We're Into. Which, in case you're new to the world of UFH, is our little monthly video magazine of everything that's delighting me, inspiring me, or obsessing me in any given month. And of course, I'll leave links to everything in the description area. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling fall. I'm feeling the fall, and this year, after all we've been through, Christmas can't come soon enough. I've bought all my presents this month. I've already wrapped them. I'm nuts. Okay, let's start with some fashion. In last month's What We're Into, we looked at the Spring-Summer 21 collections, which were still going on when I dropped the episode. And I told you I'd mop up this season in this month's What We're Into. Well, there wasn't much left that I was truly crazy about. But I did like House of Schiaparelli with some great pieces, all of it photographed in homage to Elsa's own surrealist pleasures. Look at that hand coming out of the face. So creepy, but so cool. And there were other moments that spoke directly to Elsa's own work, like these fingernailed gloves here. And I really like the jewelry and accessories. Look at these sunglasses. They are divinely demented. All of that hammered gold. Actually, these sunglasses sort of remind me of the Mask of Agamemnon. And that also reminds me to ask you this. Are there any cutlery or flatware designers or manufacturers out there? I've had this idea for this cutlery set for ages, and I want to turn it into a fabulous reality. Check this out. I think this has been billed as the world's most expensive COVID mask, again from Schiaparelli. I believe it's made of gold, and I can't really figure out how it works. Are the lips part of the mask? Because if they're not, how is it a COVID mask? But it doesn't really matter, as nobody will be wearing it, but it does look sort of creepy cool, doesn't it? But this is the extreme end of the House of Schiaparelli's offerings for Spring-Summer 21. Some of the collection was beautifully wearable, but way too expensive for me. So, let's get the look for less. Yes, backed by popular demand, the look for less. I loved this one-shoulder billowing hand-painted silk top, so let's get the look for less. I found this one-shoulder billowing white blouse at Prose and Poetry for $88, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to get ourselves down to Michael's and buy some fabric paint and then let our imaginations run wild. We can do a similar design to the one on the Schiaparelli or create something all our own. The idea is the same idea about volume, about silhouette, and of course about hand painting. And what about those fabulous fingernail gloves? Easy, let's get the look for less. A pair of long black gloves. I found these on Amazon for $15. Get some super glue and add false fingernails. You can find colored fake nails at Claire's for like $10, and voila. What have you got? The look for less. The look for less, saving your money with the UFH. I've got more fashion for you later in the episode, but that must wait because I am dying to tell you all about our weekend in Toronto last weekend and the restaurant we ate at. Patio dining, social distancing, patio dining, don't worry. This place, we ate in a castle at a restaurant called the Blue Blood in this castle called the Casa Loma, which was built at the turn of the century in the Gothic Revival style. It was such a magical night. The food was amazing. And here's our table. Was it a modest, inexpensive evening? Hell no. But when the world opens up and you visit Toronto, I highly recommended the Blue Blood at the Casa Loma because it'll make you feel like a fairy tale prince or princess. Bring the horseradish. What else are we into? I am currently obsessed with enormous ceramic tigers, leopards, and cheetahs, like this one here that we see with this famous lady, and thank you UFH group member Peter for rustling up this fabulous image for me. Initially relieved that these are no longer available, my relief turned to unspeakable and desperate desire when I discovered this design group and shop, Dogwood Lifestyle. And oh yes, they do the big ceramic cats like the one you see on the left, or these guys. Just look at them. And look at these guys. And look at this prowling tiger. Not into big cats, don't worry. They also do flamingos and poodles as well. And they're based in the UK, and this stuff isn't cheap, nor should it be. It's all handmade in Italy. But Dogwood Lifestyle also sells original vintage prints at far more doable prices. Their website is gorgeous and includes a really inspiring blog. I'll leave a link, of course. But now that I know that my dream of ceramic leopards is available and that I can't afford to buy them, I have to get the look for less. And here's how I'm doing it, with Bo and Louis. Not big, they're not ceramic, but they are rather beautiful and they get the job done. I am so excited to tell you about a new YouTube channel that I think you are going to LOVE. This one. Created by costume maker James Kelly, who is also a fantastic presenter. And what does James talk you through? Well, how to make some of fashion and movie history's most famous gowns, like Dorothy's dress from The Wizard of Oz or Melanie's chevron dress from Gone with the Wind. My favorite so far is the making of the lovebird dress from Gone with the Wind. Listen, you guys know that I can't even sew a button on, but I am addicted to Mr. Kelly's brilliant channel. I'll leave the link. You will love it. Let's have some more fashion. I've just discovered a new resort label. Yes, another one, that's all I need. Hester Bly out of England, who creates these beautiful dresses and caftans in these wonderful corals and sage greens and muted pinks and beiges. I want them all, but I've got to be honest, it's rather expensive. So let's get the look for less. I'm enjoying the look for less a bit too much, aren't I? This gorgeous Me Party maxi dress was one of my faves, but I found this online at Overstock for $45. Add a gold sash belt for $15 from Amazon, and we've really got the look for less, don't we? $1,000 less. And what about those gorgeous caftans with those blocky prints and those numbers and letters? Well, you all know you can buy caftans all over the internet for pocket money prices. Well, take this caftan here. Add some ribbon around the neckline, add a chevron ribbon such as this one, and then you're going to get that fabric paint that we used earlier for our Schiaparelli look for less, and add your own beautiful numbers and letters in your finest hand, or whatever you like, the look for less, saving you money with the UFH. And by the way, the incredible background image I just used was the work of Melbourne-based photographer Kate Ballis, and I am so into her work this month. Her photographs are described as infra-realist, and I'm just mad about them, especially her scenes from Palm Springs. They sort of look like Earth is on another planet, and this year, doesn't it feel like Earth is on another planet? Anyway, I'll leave a link to Kate's website. What a talent. And speaking of talent, I was so happy to learn that YouTube has just launched a dedicated platform in its fashion and beauty section to designers, stylists and entrepreneurs of color, both past and present. It doesn't have a ton of channels or videos on the platform yet, but hopefully this will grow. I think they're adding new videos and channels all the time, and I'll leave a link as there's some really great stuff there that perhaps I wouldn't have happened upon had these channels not been gathered. I'll leave a link. What else are we into? I am so into the first runners-up in this year's Britain's Got Talent, a choir called Sign Along With Us. Their first audition is one of the most beautiful and joyful things I've ever seen. Their whole story is in the segment, and I'll leave a link. Please watch it if you haven't seen it yet, because you will adore it and it will utterly lift your spirits. And speaking of Britain's Got Talent, I was so into these photos that dropped this morning showing Simon Cowell out and about and standing up and walking after his terrible accident this year. You'll remember he broke his back in 3 places and was in a pretty bad way. Just when we thought 2020 couldn't get any worse, Simon Cowell breaks his back in 3 places. Anyway, I have always loved Simon Cowell. I think I'm a bit in love with him actually, so I'm very happy that he's on the mend. Sticking with the British, I have suddenly become obsessed with Meakin coffee pots from the 60s and 70s. So colourful, so elegant, and so groovy. But even more, I have become besotted by Pomeranian pottery from the same era. Look at this. I need, want, and must have this. And the irony is that I once did have this in white, with a black Greek key. It was our coffee set when I was a little girl growing up in England in the 70s. If my dad is watching this, and I know he is, hi Dad, do you remember that coffee set? What happened to it? Do the siblings have it? I want it. What else are we into? How did I not know about this company, Bradbury and Bradbury Wallpaper? Basically, they reproduce vintage wallpaper from the Victorian era to the 70s, like with this beautiful Art Deco wallpaper here, or this 1930s colonial revival wallpaper, or this beautiful 1940s exotic wallpaper, or this atomic age stylish paper we have here. I love this stuff. And I love that they reproduce children's wallpaper as well, like with these 1940s cowboys, or this turn of the century court scene. And look at this, clearly inspired by the good neighbor policy. And I'm posting this one again because Rupert will be watching this episode of What We're Into. And we need to have our front hall wallpapered. And I really want to wallpaper it in this. I love this above all things. What else are we into? I love this new designer called Estelle TSHA and her label E. I'll leave a link. What she does is take vintage Chanel and paint on the back of it, a genuine crossover between fashion and art. And you already know how to get this look for less, right? What else are we into? This came up on the morning news the other day, and I thought it was so brilliant I simply want to talk about it. There's a new wave of companies like this one called Silver Nest that find roommates for seniors. So basically this is a golden girl situation come to life. But not just golden girls, golden guys, golden gay, golden everyone. The genius of these services is that they match up roommates based on personality, shared interests and hobbies, and I love this idea. It's not easy for senior citizens to afford good housing, and some of these homes are beautiful with swimming pools and hot tubs. And as everyone is chipping in, the prices are so affordable, a fraction of assisted living or retirement homes. I think so often that seniors living alone can be terribly, terribly bored and also quite lonely. I know the lady who lives next door to us is, because she told me so. And so I think this is a genius idea, and if I outlive Rupert, I won't hesitate using this service. As long as I can be Blanche Devereaux. I always have to be Blanche Devereaux. What else are we into? I am so into the smell of this perfume, Voice of the Snake by Gucci. I have never smelled a fragrance with such power to time travel. What time travel abilities it has. It can take you to a medieval castle. It can carry you down the Silk Road. It can transport you to a Quattrocento villa, an 18th century boudoir. It can take you to 1930s Shanghai or Morocco in the 60s. Wherever you want to be, Voice of the Snake takes you there. Go smell it. You'll love it. I don't know how to get this scent for less, but Christmas is coming up, so fingers crossed. What have I been watching? Did you see this? The Social Dilemma, a documentary on Netflix about how social media truly works. Yes, we all know that our information and online behavior is monitored and used, but this documentary explains how it's monitored and where it's used, and it is pretty scary, I can tell you, but not as scary as University Challenge. If you're in Britain, you'll know all about this show. It's been running for about 50 years. But if you don't know about it, it's a quiz show made up of competing teams from Britain's leading universities, and the questions are ridiculously difficult. Rupert and I are going through a bit of a university challenge phase at the moment. All the shows are on YouTube. After we finish work for the day, we make our cocktails, get our Costco nuts. Costco really does have the best nuts, doesn't it? And play along. It is so hard that if we happen to somehow get a question right, well, we squeal like a pig. I got one right last night. The answer was tundra. Tundra. What else are we into? I am so into the news that actor David Suchet has just been named Sir David Suchet, finally. The man who has brought so many of us so much joy over the years in his role of Hercule Poirot is officially recognized for his services to acting. Arise, Sir David. And arise, my brother ZACK, because those of you who watch What We're Into every month will know what's coming next. Yes, my brother ZACK WOLFE, Dude brother, is still taking commissions. Here is his David Suchet. Thank you to everyone who has commissioned him so far, and I'm so glad that you like the end result. What else are we into? Well, let's stick with art. Journey with me to spectacular Ghana as I share one of this month's greatest finds. Okay, you know how much I love folk art and naive art, right? Well, because of the political situation in Ghana in the 80s and 90s, there was a dearth of international movies shown at movie houses, and so bootleg video clubs started popping up that would travel to remote villages with a TV, a video player, and bootlegged versions of big movies. But of course, there were no movie posters or stills to advertise the coming attractions, so artists, and sometimes people who admittedly were not artists, were tasked with creating the poster art, which would be stuck to flour sacks by means of advertising. And most of the artists hadn't seen the movies and were basing their creations on the original videotape artwork or what they'd heard about the movie. And the results are beyond brilliant. Here's The Spy Who Loved Me, and I wondered what the big fish in this poster art was all about. But if you've never seen The Spy Who Loved Me and read the back of the original video cassette, you would learn that James Bond encounters Jaws. Well, you can see the confusion here, right? But doesn't this look fantastic? I love the art for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Come on, think about it. If you had never seen the movie and didn't know that they were adorable and cuddly and green, this is what a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle probably would look like. Mission Impossible 2, Tom Cruise as you've never seen him before. Jurassic Park is a personal favorite of mine. Isn't that fantastic looking? And I love the art to Anaconda and The Matrix. And I'm not the only one who finds this stuff so compelling. A few years ago, Ghanaian bootleg poster art, as it's known, became highly collectible, and many of the original artists were tracked down, such as Daniel Jasper here, and they now take commissions to create poster art for any movie or anything that you want. I would love to have a poster for the Ultimate Fashion History channel by Daniel. This stuff is just so good and so cool. And the whole idea of art created for a movie that the artist hasn't seen, it's so postmodern and fabulous. And never mind that colonial revival wallpaper, I want my hallway full of this fabulous artwork. It is so beautiful. Hungry? Thirsty? Good, because it's time for the food of the month, the cocktail of the month, and the style icon of the month. This month it's all about ham, glazed ham. Ham is the new turkey, I've decided. I cook mine old school with pineapple and cherries, and for my glaze I use lime soda. I found a terrific recipe online, which I will leave for you, and when I eat it, I try not to think about this notorious piece of advertising with this image of a demented pig gleefully cutting slices of himself to eat. If that poster had been a movie, Peter Lorre would have loved playing that role. I don't think about this. I prefer to think about lovely John Hamm. Yes, John Hamm. And the cocktail of the month? Oh, you'll love this because it's quite Halloweeny with its purplish tone. It's called the Empress 75, and it's made with this blue gin called Empress 1908, but it doesn't taste like gin, which is good because I don't like gin, and it doesn't taste like violets either. It has this really pleasant sort of herb-based taste, and for the cocktail, you do 2 parts of Empress gin, 1 part of simple syrup, and 1 part of champagne or bubbly wine. We use just bubbly wine. But this is great when you're entertaining in your bubble because something kind of magical happens when you make it. The gin is blue, but when you add the bubbles, it turns purple. Hey presto, you're David Copperfield, the magician, not the Dickensian boy. But I warn you, this stuff is kind of strong. Limit yourself and your guests in your bubble to 1 or 2. It'll get you bombed. And this month's style icon was George's idea. George, my 13-year-old stepson, who was all like, Mimi, it's October. It's obvious. And it is obvious. Because Drake is an October baby, and we all know that because his fashion label, OVO, stands for October's Very Own. Hey, this is a good Toronto tie-in too, isn't it? Drake's label is so hip that he's even teamed with D2, a true style icon and a lovely chap to boot, so happy birthday, Drizzy. Well, I hope you enjoyed this month's episode of What We're Into. The next time I see you, it will be for the Ultimate Fashion History's Halloween special. Ooh, scary stuff. Until then, enjoy the rest of the month. Stay safe, stay happy, stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.